Donald Trump announced a $500 billion investment in an AI project that they're going to be doing in Texas, and it's going to bring a lot of jobs. A lot of left-wing media folks are probably not going to want to talk about that because that's something that definitely makes Donald Trump look good. And if you're a conservative, I just misled you. I just did what Donald Trump did to the world. And this is a perfect example to demonstrate how much our media has failed us, how much our for-profit media has failed us, independent and corporate. Donald Trump is likely doing what he always does, and that's scheme and deceive. And I do these videos for free. I don't have any AdSense. I don't make any money doing this. I put out content I know is not going to get a lot of views because that's not my focus. But for free, with limited time, me just doing some basic journalistic research and looking into this, didn't spend a lot of time at all. I found a lot of information that's not being covered by a lot of those left-wing media, independent channels, and the mainstream media in general. Now, I'm not a journalist. I don't have journalist training, but I am an analyst. Right? I have made a wonderful career being the guy who is very meticulous in picking up details that maybe other people wouldn't pick up. When the announcement was made, there were red flags all over it. Right? To a lot of people, they just say, oh, $500 billion investment. But to me, I can't turn my brain off in terms of I'm an analyst, right? I'm always analyzing things. And again, I'm very trained in picking up small details. And the way it was announced, it sounded very suspicious because it was very vague. $500 billion? But what's the context of the $500 billion? Is that money coming from the government? Is that money coming from the private sector? Do they already have the money? Is it money that they have committed to investing? Like, what does it exactly mean? And why is this being announced? Trump just won the presidency. Why all of a sudden some big project being announced? Is this something that Trump did that's great? Is it, I mean, it's not like he's, getting together with these guys and he's going to do this big thing that's going to bring all these jobs. That's what it sounds like, right? But it's so vague that it was suspicious to me. So right away I started investigating. I'm like, what is this Stargate thing? Is this a new thing? What's the story? I also missed another detail. They mentioned that they already started building some of the data centers. I'm like, okay, you already started building this. So when did this exactly start? So I went back and I found March of last year, they were doing the Stargate thing. And I'm even finding as far back as 22. So they've been working on this project potentially since 22, at least for sure, since March of last year. They've been working on this. So why make an announcement now, days after Donald Trump just won the election? What changed, right? They've been working on this for apparently years, going along, doing whatever they've been doing, planning it out and whatever. And then Trump wins, and all of a sudden, oh, we're going to invest $500 billion. Like, what? I mean, it almost seems like it's a publicity stunt meant to basically deceive the American people. These guys who want things from the government. And this is what we talked about. When we looked at the debate and we saw how Kamala it was so easy for her to manipulate Trump. Because Trump is just so easy to manipulate. And I told people, this is why he's not qualified to be president. Somebody who you could bait by talking about the crowd size and get them off message is a very weak-minded person that, foreign countries are going to eat alive. And here we have it once again showing his weakness. So these billionaires, they want their tax breaks and whatever government subsidies. They want our tax dollars. We the American people, they want to use our, like what Elon Musk has been doing. They want our tax dollars that we work hard for to subsidize whatever it is they got doing so they could become even more wealthy, right? That's what it is, right? So they gas up Trump, give him this, a chance to make some announcement, knowing how brain dead our media is, whether it's independent or corporate, right? Most corporate media, they just basically repeating the press release. Trump announced $500 billion announcement. The average person is not going to understand what the hell they're talking about. The average person, it sounds like, Trump's doing something. Oh, he's creating jobs. And you know that the Republican Party is going to feed that idea. We're going to be years in the future, and you're going to hear so many people going to say, and the thing that he did with the AI and he invested. And listen, man, Trump may decide to do some investing in the future, but that's besides the point, right? The question that anyone talking about this should be, especially mainstream media, but even as independent folks, when you bash in mainstream media all day long, which means your audience is not watching mainstream media, so they're relying on you, then that means you got to do the work. I'm hearing these independent guys talking about Trump, $500 billion AI, just repeating it. All they do, they follow people on Twitter, they follow people on Blue Sky, right? People they trust, and then their knowledge is limited by the bubble that they're in based on the algorithm. Right? So people they follow and say, oh, Trump did this, whatever. And that's the only thing they know. And because of capitalism, right? Because the time that I took to do the little research I did, while you're doing that research, you're missing out on something else that's trending that you could do a video about. That's bad for business. That's why mainstream media is struggling. They have the overhead of research teams and fact checking, and they have a legal team and this and that, all this red tape. Meanwhile, independent media, you can jump on camera. Did a $500 billion investment. You ain't fact checking nothing. You ain't researching nothing. You ain't doing no kind of critical thinking at all. You just put it out there, helping Trump to scam people with his bullshit. Now, some independent publications, I think Vox might have done some decent work with that. But overall, and I think one thing I noticed when I first started looking at the story, and I looked online, all I saw was a bunch of See, independent media, they definitely do a lot of this repeating stuff where they just repeat stuff that other people say. But even mainstream media does that sometimes, and this is the case. They did it like a press release. So I looked online, and all of a sudden, all these articles kept popping up, all saying Trump announced $500 billion investment, whatever, over and over again. And then it's like silence before that. So I'm just like, where does this thing just pop out of nowhere? I had to specifically dig. One of the techniques I used was when I did a search, I set the timeline to like in the past, because I needed to get past all the noise of all these people just repeating the same stuff. They see it in their feed or whatever it is, and they just out there like, what's the context, man? What does the $500 billion mean, right? Is that aspirational goal? Is that a set commitment? And where's the money coming from? Private sector? Does it come from investments? Are they going to actually bankroll it themselves? What are they buying with the money? Right? All these questions, right? But who has time for that to inform the public? It's just, let's just spit out, $500 billion investment. Independent media is not the solution. Independent media is very important, and it's great that we have it to fill in some of the gaps from mainstream media. But it's dangerous when these guys keep demonizing mainstream media as if mainstream media has no value. Mainstream media has tons of value, as trash as they are. And I'm the one that tells people that all the time. There's a lot of problems with mainstream media, especially CNN and MSNBC. That's why I say, you want to watch mainstream media? ABC. Go watch ABC. But be critical with them, just like how you should be to your favorite YouTuber that got you dropping your guard because you feel like you have a connection with them and they seem kind of cool and seem like an honest person or whatever it is. Fuck that. These people are capitalists. They're running businesses. You have to be critical of all of them, whether it's mainstream media or it's independent media, because these people are running businesses. There's a conflict of interest, right? They need to do what's going to bring the money. What brings the money is what brings the views, right? We really need to put an end to this stupid, childish war about mainstream media this and mainstream media that and mainstream media. Yes, there's a lot of problems with mainstream media, but there's far more problems in independent media. So how about we just give people media literacy so they consume both and they know when mainstream media is on some bullshit and they know when independent media is on some bullshit? How about that? How about we get people the most informed as they can possibly be? And you can't do that if you just watch mainstream media or you just watch independent media. You got to diversify your diet. And no matter who you're listening to, you need to be skeptical. You need to be paying attention. When they reporting stuff, listen to the words they use and how they say it. And you need to be able to pick up just like how I did. I mean, I know it's, that's kind of my thing. But still, critical thinking, I mean, that's something anybody can develop. Being skeptical, anybody could do that. When you hear a story, think about what they're saying. How do they know that? Who said that? What does this mean? Right? Don't just take it in. You gotta be critical, man. You gotta be critical in your thinking. You gotta be awake, right? You can't be passively taking in the information, right? You need to be engaged with the news media that you're consuming, right? The for-profit media that you're consuming. Left-wing, right-wing, corporate, independent. Especially independent. Do not trust those people. Even though they may have a nice smile and you think they're cool, they're not your friends. You're not just listening to somebody. You're watching somebody running a business, right? The truth is not always the most profitable. But if you're not profitable enough, your business shuts down. They need their businesses to stay running, right? They don't have the luxury of doing the right thing and always, investigating things and following a procedure. They need to jump on the trends and keep their channel current. Watch it. They're running a business, man. It's a business. This Baby Channel, the Baby comment section. Real quick, and like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.